All right, so today I'm here with Anthony, and I came across his TikTok profile. Thought his physique looked super awesome, so figured might as well have him on the podcast today. How are you doing, Anthony?
Good, man. Good. Glad to be here. Tired, but we're doing it. We're
I
doing it.
feel that. Um, and yeah, I've noticed obviously on your socials, obviously you look great. You're always pretty active. I've just been curious, what kind of got you into like fitness and bodybuilding in the first place?
Yeah, so I've always been active in the way of like sports. So I've always done sports my whole life. I played basketball, soccer, baseball. It's actually funny. I've always had a very skinny build. So I've always been to the running aspect of sports. So that led to me doing cross country and track in high school. Um, Honestly, I was pretty good. I held myself at a high standard of like to the point where I wanted to go and even like try out for the Olympics. I always dreamed big, and so I felt like the way I was moving, I feel like I could have really got there. I was running I think my 3 mile at like 15:30, my 400 at 49 seconds, my mile was at like 4:20, my 800 was at 1:56, but my thing was more like the 800. So I was really destined on honestly breaking like the 150s because I was running my 156 at a very early stage in my running career. So then what had happened was because of COVID, because I was running during 2020, it kind of just like stopped everything for me. So I wasn't able to, go to my races my senior year too. So I had like some colleges kind of lined up. They just told me like, hey, like, we need to have you finish your season first so we can keep an eye on you and then we'll look at your times. So I wasn't able to finish out my season. So fortunately, I ended up going to a community college. I went to Mount Sac. I ran there for about a year, but the thing was we weren't allowed to run together as a team for the year. So you literally had to end up doing. I basically had to almost run 2 years by myself. And the thing was like, even though running's like a very individual sport, at the end of the day, it was the team that kind of kept you going. The team I had in high school, man, like we were like like on top of each other so much. And it kind of does bleed into the bodybuilding aspect for me, because a lot of people I feel like have what it takes, either physique wise, work wise, ethic wise, but it's the uncomfortability process of it that I feel like they can't get past. And the thing was with that sport that I did, cross country and track, it, a lot of people don't believe it, but it gets gruesome. And the things we would do, like the amount of times we had to push our body was insane. Like I think we went a whole season without a track. So what we would have to do was we would have to actually run to the nearest high school, do our practice there, finish practice, and then run back. So we wouldn't drive there. We would run there, practice there, and after the practice, we'd run back. And man, those would be like sometimes in like 95-degree weather, the blistering cold, and it's just like the fact that we pushed so hard. Some of the hardest runs we would do would be every year we'd go to Big Bear and we would run up a ski lift. I think the mileage was 16 miles.
Wow.
And you're just running up, dude, like literally a mountain up 60 miles. And the thing is, every mile, the elevation just gets harder and harder and harder and harder. And you just like, you want to give up. And because of the team I was a part of, we pushed ourselves. And that season, we basically lived by the quote, pain is temporary. Um, and, that bled into, what I do now. And so, because of like COVID happening and I was just like, I was lost. And honestly, dude, like I was just so depressed because I couldn't go to school. COVID kept me stuck in the house all day. And I think I never paid too much attention to my mind. And so that since I've always been like up and about, like When I was in sports, I'd wake up at 5 a.m. Go run,
Mm-hmm.
school, run. I had a job at the time, so I go to job, come home, homework, family, whatever. But I didn't notice how much like I was, like I will be honest, like weak mentally, and
Mm-hmm.
so it did really take me to a very dark place. I think, dude, I'm telling you, to the point where it was like even like suicidal thoughts, and I was lost, and I didn't know what to do. It was like the one thing I only knew how to do was running. It was like just take it from me. And I kid you not, it's funny. The thing that got me into the lifting aspect, well, there's a couple of things, but the thing that like just fired that gave me that go, I was on TikTok and I first just downloaded it. And it was the first ever gym video that ever popped up on my page. It was, I think, a an edit of, I think it was like the old school Gymshark guys. It was like Lex Little, James English, David Lade.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who else. Have you seen that photo before where they're all like in front of the
Yeah,
garage
I
and
know
like,
exactly
yeah,
what you're talking
yeah.
about.
It was that, and I saw that, I was like, holy shit, like that's sick. Like I want that. And I was skinny, man. I was about like 110, 120 pounds, and
Wow. And
like
how tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I was just skinny, and honestly it was a lot of like, that was so another reason why I got so much into the gym, was because, the average story of like I got bullied a lot. I was always picked on, I was always made fun of. I'd go to family parties and they'd be like, "Oh, your cousins are all big," and like, "Oh, like you don't eat enough. Like you should eat more." And then like in school, like I just like the shirts I'd wear, I'd feel skinny. I didn't have any shoulders, I didn't have a back. Like my wrists, like you're able to like wrap your like literally your fingers around my wrist. How skinny I was. Um, I hated it. I just hated it, and I think what it was for me was, it was just the fact that, and I will give myself the credit that I didn't allow the dark thoughts and all these odds stacked against me to win. And I will admit, I think it came from the fact that like I did such a hard sport and I went through such gruesome things to become successful in the sport,
Mm-hmm.
that I was like, okay, if I can do that, I can do this. Um, and me and my dad were big Kobe fans, and one thing like he would tell me about Kobe was that he would use things to motivate him, and sometimes he would even make things up to piss him off, so he can push himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just the start of it, man. Like I was like, fuck it, dude. Like I'm tired of being this way. I'm tired of, looking in the mirror and feeling less than a man, less than what I am and what people have made me feel. And so it started off small. Like I would literally just do push-ups every day. It was push-ups, sit-ups, planks. I got to pull a bar, because I officially had started when I was 18. And I just did bunch of push-ups. Eventually, like the friends I had at that time, I'm still friends with them, but um, I told them like, hey, I'm starting to work out. Like we should work out. No gyms are open, and so we had nothing. And literally, what started that was like, I had this like weak ass wooden bench. It was like a garden bench, and I had 15-pound dumbbells, and he had 25-pound dumbbells. And me and like my two friends, that's what we did. That's literally what we did. I think for like up to, man, I think 4 months. We just laid across that wooden bench, because I have like a hill on my driveway. So we put it flat for flat bench, put on the hill for incline bench. We do push-ups, we do calf raises, which is what we had. And it to us, it didn't matter that we were working out with like some random dumbbells from wherever and like a old wooden bench. It was just the fact that like I'm still bettering myself 1% at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we still kept doing that. And then eventually the gyms opened up. So we started off at Planet Fitness. And I actually started slowly building a home gym. So I bought a squat rack and a bench and a bar, a couple
Nice.
weights. And that actually evolved to me having a full home gym. So now I have like horse stall mats, so gym flooring, a cage, a really nice bench, Rogue Ohio deadlift bar, I have a power bar for squats and bench, plates up to 500 pounds, dumbbells from 5 to 100, leg extension, hamstring curl. I have everything. I basically have everything. And part of
Nice.
that was the fact that like I genuinely loved like the idea of a garage gym. I was so obsessed with like, Dorian Yates, who else, like basically a bunch of old school bodybuilders, and I just wanted
Mm-hmm.
to embody that. And realistically, like the gyms in my area, the public gyms, I don't like the crowd. There's just too many people. I feel like I can never get anything done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I just kept going for it, man. And I eventually I was doing the newbie gains. I was making good progress. I was still really skinny, but I definitely saw more. My insertions were coming in, a little mass was coming in. But I just felt like I wasn't, where I was at yet, where I wanted to be at. And I think that's when like a lot of like body dysmorphia started hitting me because I just couldn't break that barrier. Um, and then that's when I realized, like Rich Piana said, dude, just pick up the fucking fork. So the thing was, when I tried that, I actually wasn't able to keep my food down. I don't know what was going on with me. I went to a bunch of different doctors. I just couldn't eat a certain amount of food or excess amount of protein. So for 3 months, when I actually started taking the bulk serious, um, those 3 months were absolute like hell. I was throwing up every single
Oh
day.
wow.
I was having stomach aches every single day. Like I'd be in public with my friends, and I would literally like be like, "Bro, like give me a second." I go behind the building, throw up, come back. I'd be at work, throw up, come back. Eat again, throw up, come back. I generally don't know what it was. I think it was just the fact that like I was skinny for so long, and that my stomach was just so weak that I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't able to process the food properly. And like it was to the point my parents saw that, and they were like, "Dude, like you need to chill the fuck out. Like what are you doing? Like it's not worth it." But like to me, I just like I had this idea of what I wanted to look like, what I wanted to be,
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't gonna let anything stop me. And I was just so driven by it. I was like, I'm not stopping. Like I'm gonna keep doing it. Like, dude, it was to the point where um I think I was making breaded like tilapia, and I burnt it, and it was like burnt. And I still sat down and I ate it, and like even though it tasted so bad, like I literally went to go throw up because it tasted so bad. I came back and I still kept eating. Um, I did everything I could try to just keep the food down. Eventually, after those 3 months, um, my boss at the time, she used to, I guess, supposedly she used to bodybuild, and she had like almost the same issue as me. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what I tell a lot of people. So, like, if anyone listening or hearing or watching this clip, if you have a hard time keeping food down, or you just genuinely can't like process your food, probiotic pills, what I use were the cultural ones from Costco, made an immense difference. I was able to actually like digest food, keep my food in, and it stopped all my stomach problems. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm going into full gear. And then, have you ever heard of Sebastian Burka? I
Sounds
think that's how
very
you say his last name.
familiar.
I actually ended up reaching out to him, and I worked with him for 3 months. He was like my coach for 3 months, and I learned a lot from him. I was running a bro split, and my diet is still based around what I learned from him and what he taught me. Um, and that made a big difference. So definitely, I feel like eventually, if people want to take it a lot more serious, a coach is something that's really going to push you.
Mm-hmm.
I myself, I'm a personal trainer. I work at a 24-hour fitness. I tell people all the time, like it's like you have to invest into yourself, and at the end of the day, you do so much for others. This is that one thing where, at the end of the day, you can do for yourself, and putting that money back into you is only going to benefit you at the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, in doing so, man, like I fell in love with the gym, and it taught me so much. It brought me to such a beautiful community. Half of the friends I have now I met in the gym, and just that like there's certain words I can't say, but camaraderie. Dude, I'm telling you, I can't say
Yeah, I
certain
know what you
words,
mean.
but you get what I'm saying. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I can't say it. It brought a lot, yeah, that feeling to me, like almost like the feeling I had when I was, with my old cross country team. Um, and then eventually, yeah, dude, like I just nothing stopped me once I got the ball rolling and everything and all the tools like were put into place. I used everything to the full benefit. I got my diet down, I got my sleep down, water down, vitamins down, like my workouts down. Like it just propelled me. And I actually ended up doing a powerlifting meet. And it was a small powerlifting meet. There wasn't that many people in my weight class, but at 160, was at 163. This was back in I think 20. I think I did this in 2024, 2023. I forgot. Um, I did. My bench wasn't too much. My bench was 215. Squat was 380. My deadlift was 450. But now the heaviest I ever got up to was 175. I was able to actually get my bench up to 303. My deadlift to 507. This is calibrated, so this is with kilo plates. And then my squat to 423, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all natural, so I did this all natural, and being like still like pretty light. So I feel like I've always had I've always been pretty strong for my weight class. And I think a lot of it is too like my build. I have very short legs, so I don't have that much of range of motion. But yeah, and then I just kept going, and then eventually, something recent had happened to me, and then I lost a little bit of weight because I really wasn't able to eat, and then you know what? After that like small like unannounced cut, I was like, holy shit! You know what? Like I look kind of cool, like kind of good because I was
Mm-hmm.
bulking for so long. So what I did was I reached out to a couple people. I kind of asked around if I look like I got what it takes to maybe step on stage. Like I know anyone can step on stage, but I didn't want to step on stage like knowing that I don't have like at least a chance of winning. I want to
Right.
at least know that. And I actually watched a video from what's that guy, the one that's always promoting testosterone, Coach Greg. Coach Greg.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Yeah.
his
I know
videos?
him.
Yeah. I saw a video of his, and it was talking about like, should you compete on stage? Have you ever had someone tell you before that you look like you can compete? If you haven't, if you have, you probably have a good chance of maybe competing. If you haven't, there's no point in stepping on stage. But I have had couple people, so I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna try. So I signed myself up for a show, and so I'm actually 7 weeks out now.
Nice.
Ended up, yeah, sign up for the show. So I'm competing November 1st in El Segundo. It's an all natural show. So I'm currently 7 weeks out, and this itself is a very challenging thing too. And I think just like I'm starting to understand what a lot of like natural competitors are talking about. Like I'm noticing, like of course, like I'm getting a lot leaner, but my what was I gonna say? Like my mood changes very fast just because like
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting at such a low body fat. Like my energy isn't there like it used to be. My lifts are starting to like lack a little bit. I notice I don't heal as fast, so like any pains I have, like they just kind of linger a little bit longer. Um, but yeah, like at the end, like what really like drove me was I don't want to say like the feeling of what I felt from others. It was more so like I knew myself. I wanted to achieve something greater than what I was. And like there is a quote I live by. I have it hanging in my garage. It's by Socrates. It is shame for a man to grow old without seeing his true strength and beauty of which his body is capable of. And
I
so
like
like I
that.
live, yeah, and I live by that every day. And the first time I heard that, I was like, damn, like that's good. I want to see what I'm capable of, like what my body's capable of. And at the end of the day, dude, like I just like I just love the way like I feel when I'm healthy, when I'm when I'm lifting the weights. Like it's just a form of therapy to me that I just like I don't think I can find anything else. And it's fun. I love it, and like I do it with my friends. I do it with my family. Um, so it brings something to do with other people as well.
Totally.
Um, yeah.
So, before you actively started lifting weights, you said you were 110 pounds, and then currently you're weighing at, did you say 165?
So bulked up, I was around 175 to 180. Right now, since I've been cutting for the show, I think fasted I weigh about 157. During the middle of the day, I think I'm like 162.
Wow, that's crazy. You put on
Yeah,
a lot of weight in a few years.
yeah,
And I know you were talking about taking those probiotic supplements. Are you still taking those? And also, do you feel like your body kind of naturally adjusted to matching like certain amount of calories to eat while you're working out?
yeah. So it did. I still take them every here and there if my stomach starts to act up again. But my body did kind of like um, acclimate. I don't know how to say the word. Um, how do you say it? Uh, acu, whatever. It got used to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My body got used to like the amount of calories I now consume compared to before. I think also too it does depend a lot on like how hard you train. If you train pretty hard, and you're of course you're busy throughout the day, that does help with your hunger as well. And I feel like a lot of people when they struggle to not eat, it's because like maybe they don't train as hard or they don't do as much during the day, so they don't create that hunger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how are you balancing like your cardio and your lifting nowadays? And also, like, what do you normally do for cardio?
So right now my coach has me carb cycling. So I it's goes high carb, low carb, 2 maintenance days, and then start the cycle all over again. So I'll probably do cardio around um, 6 days a week. Right now I'm like at 5 days a week doing cardio. It depends on the day. It'll be 30 or 20 minutes. Level 6 stairmaster.
Yeah, Stairmaster is
Yeah,
really good, I feel like, especially like if you can't really go outside and go on a run.
yeah.
Do you do that at the gym normally, or do you have one at your place?
At my gym, so at the gym I work at, I'll just do it there. I do stairmaster. I have a stationary bike here at the house, like an electric stationary bike. So if I can't, for whatever reason, do it at the gym, I'll get it done at the house.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
also for your training leading up into your competition, in terms of lifting, do you normally do like higher weight and like lower amount of reps for your training?
Yeah, so actually I personally that's what worked for me, and I feel like a lot of people have been promoting that a lot more in the industry. Anything between 6 to 8 reps, I think is a sweet spot at a medium to heavy weight. So what I tell all my clients that are trying to put mass as well is you want to choose a weight that's pretty difficult, but you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I mean by the 6 to 8 reps is you can probably go more to 6 to 8, but the fact is your form's going to give out like really bad, and then you're just ego lifting at that point, or you're going to
Right.
just tear something. So you want to do 6 to 8, full range of motion, controlled tempo under the pressure of that medium to heavy weight. That's like always been my sweet spot. So usually I'll train like that with like all my lifts. Certain accessories I might go a little more. Like my calves, I'll go like 14 reps. My rear delts, I'll go like 14. Um, certain muscles, but I feel like the
For sure.
heavier, bigger muscles, I definitely keep it around that range. And it's funny too. For me, nothing really worked for my legs to grow until I genuinely just started just squatting and deadlifting. Before that, I was doing, like the leg press, the hack squat, even the Smith machine. It wasn't, I think, until like I started actually like going heavy, heavy on squat and deadlift is when like I started growing size on my legs.
And that's when you were doing like 6 reps for like each set.
Yeah, yeah. I
Gotcha,
was
gotcha.
that's 6 to 8. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like out of all leg exercises, like if you can master the squat, like that's almost like everything you need right there because it puts like so much emphasis on your quads.
Yeah, I
Um,
think for me too is I squat very narrow, so no matter what, like I'm always getting quad flexion. And yeah, I'll even like throw on like my squat shoes or like a plate underneath my heel.
hmm Yeah, squats is still something that I'm trying to get better at too, because I have this bad habit where when I squat down, like one of my legs kind of goes like inwards, and I end up putting like a little more weight on one leg, and sometimes that like causes me joint pain. So sometimes I have to like put a little less weight on the squat. But yeah,
Yeah,
similar to what you're saying, definitely try to go heavier on squats because that's what's giving me the most results. So definitely
yeah,
important to like kind of balance your form and also like the amount of weight you put onto.
yeah.
I'm gonna ask. So when you were actively like playing a lot of sports growing up, did you like touch base on any weightlifting at the time, or was that just more later, like after the COVID era?
It was more towards after the COVID era because all the sports I was doing, like basketball, soccer, like they were never like serious leagues, so we never had like access to facilities. And I never like got into the gym when I was younger. So yeah, I didn't start touching weights until I was like 18, like during COVID era.
hmm Yeah,
Yeah.
I had kind of a similar story to you because growing up, I was a very competitive like ice hockey player.
Okay.
So most of the time we were just doing like a lot of cardio. So growing up, I was also like pretty skinny on the leaner side.
Yeah.
And I played college hockey also. So it wasn't
Nice.
really till after I graduated college when I actually started taking weightlifting pretty seriously. Um, and also similar to you, I had like some bad things happen. When I have a relationship that was very long for almost 5 years, I had a friend that passed, and I was just in a really bad like mental state. And I think the number one thing for me with weightlifting is that it's like more mental to me than it is physical. Like, of course, it feels great physically, but it wasn't until I actively started weightlifting where it felt like I almost had an escape from like everything that was going on, and that just kind of gave me peace away from everything else. Um, and then once like the gains started coming in, I just started building up like more and more confidence, and I think that's been the biggest benefit for me. You know, aside from looking great. And I was also going to ask you too, do you happen to have any friends or any people you know that aren't natural, that are maybe taking like Tren or any of these other steroids?
Yeah, I got a couple people. I'm not gonna call anyone out, but uh, I do got a couple friends. Some people I know in my circle that are on it. And they trust me, bro. They've pushed for me to try it. They're like, dude, like you should go on a cycle. Like you look crazy. Like don't tempt me, dude. Don't tempt me. I think I'm just generally scared of the needle aspect of like getting past that. But I mean, who knows? Down the line, like, oh, this is what I told myself. I told myself I want to compete as a natural as long as I can. Um, like I said, I've always dreamed big. I want to genuinely try to go for a natural pro card, and then see where I look like then, and then see where I'm at, financially, mental wise, like where I'm at during that time, and if my cards are played right, maybe, I would think about it. I definitely want to see how I will look on it. I feel like it'd be a really crazy thing to see, but I do notice, I do understand all the side effects that come with it, though, and it's
hmm
like it depends how much you are like invested into the sport, on how much you want to put yourself into it. Because already, like I'm already putting a lot of myself into the sport, and it's like it's a lot of fucking juggling. And at the end of the day, bodybuilders don't really get paid, unless you got a crazy physique, and all these like brands are just throwing supplements money at you, or unless you got this crazy like online personality, um, then you make money off of it. Other than that, you don't make any money off of it.
hmm
So you're really putting your body at a huge risk.
Right. Also, did
Yeah.
get a notification saying the beating one did 10 minutes. It's a stupid Zoom thing where they cap it off at 30 minutes. So if it ends, they'll just send you another link. Um,
Okay.
But yeah, I was also gonna say too, like I feel like currently in the fitness community, the pressure is just like at an all-time high for a lot of young guys like us to look as good as possible. And you're getting like a lot of these top influencers now that are actually like advocating for, taking steroids. So it's crazy because when I'm in the gym, I see like 17, 18-year-olds, and it's like so obvious to me that they're not natural at all. Um, and when I go to like talk to them, a lot of them say like, yeah, like I have like the most testosterone ever right now because I'm 18, but also like it just throws off my mood cycles like crazy. Just get like so passive aggressive constantly. And yeah, it just got me thinking like the amount of pressure on these kids nowadays is absolutely insane that are trying to make it out in the industry. And with all these influencers like advocating for all this.
I feel like it's more special if you're natural and you look crazy. I feel like that's more of like, but even still, like you almost feel like an outcast not taking it because everyone's like on it, and it's becoming so common. Like the gym near me, everyone's on that. But the funny thing is too.
My chiropractor's on Harper Street.
Yeah, it's a lot, bro. Sorry about that. Here's a funny thing. I told a couple of my friends. You definitely have to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself if it's worth taking the steroids. Like, there's some people where I've seen, and it's like, I'm natural and I look better than you. There's no reason for you to touch the steroids, dude. Like, you got to be honest with yourself. At that point, you're just taking it because it's a trend. And, they get all the bad side effects, the crazy acne, the mood swings. Like, it's not worth it at the end of the day, If you just put all you're in, you wait, you take your time, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like another thing too in the industry I noticed is that it seems like there's these big debates now between like, oh, science-based lifting or, just lifting normally, lifting more heavy than usual. And I feel like a lot of people kind of fail to realize that like, it's your own body. Everyone's body responds differently. So also, if we're including the steroids, people's bodies just react differently. For science-based lifters, maybe their bodies respond to that better. But yeah, I feel like overall in the whole industry, people just tend to forget like how everyone reacts to different things differently. And it's kind of weird how people like make arguments out of it too. That's something I never really understood.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's your body, you can do whatever you want. Like there's no point of like hating on it because you're directing like unnecessary energy you could be using on yourself onto someone else. Like, yeah, just let them do whatever they want. The science base and at the end of the day, I feel like everyone always ends up doing something that's science based. That's what people don't understand. Mm-hmm. You controlling the weight at a certain tempo, it's science based. Because it is. You're going based off science. I just believe in just working hard. That's all it is. As long as whatever you're doing, you're pushing your body to its like full limit capacity, then you're gonna progress. Like I've seen some like some certain videos where like they have like all that crazy like setup, and they're doing all this extra stuff. But the science-based lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think at the end of the day, as whatever you're doing is working for you, and you can see progression, then it would make sense. I don't know. I've always been an advocate of like if you're a beginner, to definitely focus on those compound lifts, and focus on like building up those stabilizer muscles, instead of going straight into like really specific science-based lifting, because I feel like those are more meant to like grow certain aspects of your muscles that are already like progressed over time through amount of time of compound lifting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you said a lot of really great advice so far, and I suppose for like a lot of new clients that you start working with, or for anyone that's wanting to start out or is thinking about it, I I think a big thing that holds them back is actually getting over the hump of actually starting. I know like those first 2 weeks, first 4 weeks, first couple months is really hard for someone to stick to it and stay consistent. So I was curious, like, what kind of advice do you have for people that want to overcome that hump?
Um, I will admit a lot of it is like it has to come from within or something that like you're just born with. It's kind of hard to teach someone dedication. It has to come from within you, and you're gonna have to want to like really strive for it. Um, you have to first look at the goals you have in life. If it's genuinely like you just want to do it for health, and you just want to be active, start off small, 3 days a week, do like an upper, lower, full body, just so that way, you're healthy, you're getting your body moving. If, you're motivated to actually, like build muscle and like really change, that you have to understand and be okay with um, being uncomfortable. You have to be, comfortable with being uncomfortable in order to really like progress in something like this. And I will admit to people like it's hard, and like I push some of my clients past like their limits, and they'll like tell me like no, like stop, I can't. And like I know like when like I'm like okay, I actually need to stop compared to like they can keep going. So I'll push them through that point where it's like I'll even like help them with like lifting the weight or whatever it is. And then after they're done, I'm like, see, like you were able to do it. You are a lot stronger mentally than you think you are. Like it goes back to like the sport I did. I don't think I was that talented in the sport. I think I just was able to push through more pain. So I will say this sport and doing this, it's a lot more what you can take. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of like hard things. And realistically, at the end of the day, you also have to understand that in order to grow in this, the sleep, the water, the eating, the supplements is literally 70% of it, and the lifting portion is like 30% of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that dialed down and you don't have your focus on that, you're realistically not gonna like progress. So to anyone out there trying to really make it in it, or like really change their lives or change their physique, you first off have to focus on that before anything. If you can get your diet on lock, everything on lock, then the lifting aspect is the fun part, in my opinion. But you want to look at it like I mean, to really simplify it, I always look at it as a video game. In order to get to the next level, to beat the next boss, you have to have more weapons, you have to have more XP. And realistically, it's the same thing like this, to get to the next level, to get to the next weight you want to lift, or the next, I don't know, like changing your physique, you gotta level up. You can't just stay the same. So you have to really push yourself. And I think a part of it has to come from like within. You can't teach someone to have drive or to have tenacity. That just has to come from within. So you really have to like understand how bad you want it and see what's motivating you or why you want to achieve it, and then just run with it. And like don't let that fire in you like die. Just like I forgot what quote how it goes, but it's another quote I live by too. It's if you were granted an ember of flame, it is by God's law for it to burn you to ashes at the end of the day. So like if you're granted with that small ember of passion, like go for it. Why are you gonna stop halfway? Like you're never gonna see your full potential unless you fully give it your all. So I would say yeah, just start off small. It doesn't have to be like big. And I understand like all these like like influencers and all these people and all the steroids and all that. But I had to tell myself too, comparison is the thief of joy. You have to really do it for you. You want to do it for yourself, in order to progress in this. And just Rome wasn't built in a day, so you got to take your time, fully understand it. It's going to take some time to get to that point. It didn't take me a year to get to where I wanted it. I don't even think I am where I want to be yet, but it took me 5 years of like focused training, doing whatever I can, just being invested into it. And the thing is, like, you're gonna have to make sacrifices. You're gonna have to, you know, balance your life in order for this to happen. But it's I feel like I'm pretty sure you felt it too. Like it feels beautiful seeing your body change and the way you feel after becoming more like involved in your diet and your sleep and your supplements. Like you almost feel like Superman because you're genuinely doing something healthy at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be the goal. The goal should be to get you healthy. And at the end of the day, you look good, you feel good.
And a
So yeah.
lot of the clients that you work with, is it mainly focused on like weightlifting, or do you help them out with like cardio, like explosiveness also?
It depends. Like some of my clients are like weight loss people, elderly that want to, just get their joints back in health. I do have a couple clients that actually want to like build muscle and like look big. So it all depends on everyone and what their goals are. I help with generally like everything to that point. I generally try to stay away from like elderly people with like certain health conditions or something that's really wrong with them. That's more for we have other personal trainers that deal with that just so that they get the proper care.
Mm-hmm. And I've been considering going into personal training as well. When you started off, I take it you had to get some kind of certification and then get like some kind of CPR training.
Yeah, it's a big risk, I will admit. I took a huge risk spending the money on getting certified, so I took the time to get certified, and then um, I was applying everywhere. And honestly, like I was lucky, I had a connection. My friend Lily ended up helping me, get the job I have now. But at the end of the day, I did have to like show myself and what I'm worth. And then that's when my boss brought me to the team. But he also had me take the other risk of like, because he wasn't offering me the job. All he did tell me though was like, you need to get in person CPR certified. So I just spent like $1,000 to get certified. Now this guy wants me to go spend $200, not knowing if I'm gonna get the job or not. Took the risk. I went. I got certified the next day. Came back, told him. Took him like a day to figure out if he wanted me, and then he was like, "All right, yeah." So it's definitely take the risk, and I would say um, at that point, if you're generally trying to personally train, first of all, you have to get certified. Second of all, you have to get CPR certified in person. And then I would say just apply it everywhere. Just spam call, really push your agenda, push who you are, so that you can eventually like land the job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
total sense. Thanks for clarifying that. Um, yeah, I think you pretty much touched base on everything I wanted to talk about. If
Cool.
you have any like closing thoughts or anything, feel free to shoot it out.
Yeah. It's not easy. The sport's not easy. If you generally like, definitely am not where I want to be, or I feel like I have enough credential to like speak so much about it. But I definitely have been through the ringer in this sport, and I'm starting to officially put my foot, through the door in it. It's not an easy thing to do, and I think that's what separates people from the normality of it. And that's what makes me feel alive is the fact that I'm eating the same thing for 16 weeks. When my friends are out and about, oh, this is what you hear. I can't eat that. When I'm like lifting like this certain amount of weight, almost crushing my body, being in pain almost 24/7. It's I'm doing something at the end of the day where I'm pushing myself, and I know like if I can get through this, I can get through anything else in life if I just put my mind to it. Because that's what the sport is. It's how far you can take yourself, and it's realistically like you're as a natural, like you can go so far. But at the end of the day, like your body is changing. You're turning into something different, and the thing is, like people can see that hard work because you're basically physically changing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then at the end of the day, it's just a form of therapy. If you're going through like a hard time mentally, and you've had so much happen to you, give it a try. It generally is like a welcoming community. At the end of the day, people are always going to be there for you. Um, I would say really you can always look into join private gyms. I feel the community in private gyms are a lot more closer. Everyone's always on the same page compared to like a lot of like the public gyms. But you know, if anyone's going through anything out there, you know, just give it a try. Don't give up. You know, push yourself, and it's possible. It's doable. If I can do it, if you can do it, you know, anyone can do it. You know, just you always want to try and never give up. You know, if you can't walk, crawl. You know, if you can't crawl, at least try to make some type of effort, like moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I think very priceless advice from you, and I think your story is very motivating. Seeing you go from 110 as a cross country runner over to where you are
Yeah.
now, being able to compete in competitions, I think that's super inspiring. And yeah, I think a lot of people will definitely get something out of this for sure when they watch back the clips. And
Nice.
thank you so much again for taking your time to share your story and for motivating people starting off. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Sounds good. Thank you, Max. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's a pleasure. Nice to meet you, Anthony. Thank you again.
Thank you. Stay in touch. You have a good one, man.
Take care.